The ties that binds and break. Chisom was a beautiful, kind-hearted girl who grew up in a small village. Her life wasn't easy because her mother, Kamsi, was known for her reckless lifestyle. Kamsi owned a bar where she drank, partied, and entertained different men. The villagers whispered about her behavior, and it embarrassed Chisom deeply. She longed for a quiet and decent life. Kamsi didn't care much about what people said. She believed life was meant to be enjoyed no matter the cost. Chisom tried to ignore her mother's actions, but it became harder as she got older. She was only 16 when her mother began urging her to join her lifestyle. Beauty like yours is wasted if you don't use it wisely, Kamsi said. Chisom refused. She had seen how Kamsi's choices brought shame to their family and vowed never to follow the same path. Kamsi, however, wouldn't give up. She introduced Chisom to men, promising her money, clothes, and trips to the city. But Chisom knew better. One evening, after another argument with her mother, Chisom decided she couldn't take it anymore. She packed a small bag and ran away to her grandmother's house in the neighboring village. Her grandmother, Mama Ngozi, was a kind and wise woman who welcomed Chisom with open arms. She hugged her tightly and said, "You are safe here, my child. Don't worry about anything." Life at Mama Ngozi's house was not easy. The house was small and money was tight. Chisom had to wake up early every morning to help her with chores and work on the farm. Despite the hard work, she felt loved and safe, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Mama Ngozi often told her stories about strong women who overcame struggles, and these stories gave Chisom hope. When Chisom turned 19, her grandmother introduced her to Uchenna, her uncle's wealthy son who lived in the city. He was polite, charming, and seemed genuinely interested in Chisom. At first, she was hesitant, but as they spent more time together, she started to like him. Uchenna proposed to Chisom, and she said yes. The wedding was a joyous celebration, and everyone in the village attended. Even Kamsi came. But Chisom kept her distance from her mother. She was determined to leave her past behind and start a new life with her husband. Life in the city was like a dream for Chisom. Uchenna provided her with everything she needed, and she focused on making her house a home. A year later, they welcomed a beautiful baby girl named Ada. Chisom was overjoyed and felt her life was finally complete. As tradition demanded, Kamsi came for Omugo to help Chisom with the baby. Chisom wasn't thrilled about having her mother in her home, but she decided to give her a chance for the sake of the baby. At first, everything seemed fine. Kamsi appeared to be on her best behavior. One day, Chisom went out to visit a friend, leaving Kamsi and Uchenna alone at home. When she returned, she was shocked to find her mother and husband making out in the kitchen. They were so close and lost in the act that they didn't even hear her drive into the compound. Chisom screamed, and they both turned to face her. Instead of apologizing, Uchenna looked at her coldly and said, "Pick your things and leave my house." Chisom couldn't believe her ears. Her own mother had betrayed her, and her husband didn't care. Heartbroken, Chisom packed her belongings, took her baby, and left. She cried all night at her grandmother's house, unable to understand how her life had fallen apart so quickly. Mama Ngozi held her and comforted her, saying, "My child, no matter what happens, you are stronger than you think." Months passed and the elders called for a meeting to resolve the issue. Uchenna didn't show up. Instead, he sent a message saying he wanted his bride price returned so he could marry Kamsi. He claimed Kamsi was more matured and understanding than Chisom. The news spread through the village like wildfire. Everyone was shocked and disgusted by Uchenna's action. Kamsi didn't seem to care. She proudly moved into Uchenna's house, thinking she had won. But life with Uchenna wasn't as easy as she had imagined. Uchenna's business began to fail and financial troubles mounted. The luxury life Kamsi had dreamed of disappeared. She quickly realized that being with Uchenna wasn't what she had hoped, but by then it was too late. Meanwhile, Chisom was determined to rebuild her life. Her grandmother decided to sell a piece of land to give Chisom some money. With the funds, Chisom moved to the city and started a small clothing business. She worked hard and poured her heart into the business. And over the time, it grew. Within 2 years, Chisom's business became a success. She opened a boutique and began to make name for herself. She was finally able to provide a comfortable life for herself and her daughter. She also brought Mama Ngozi to live with her, thanking her for all the love and support she had given her. Chisom made it clear that she wanted nothing to do with her mother. "You betrayed me in the worst way," she told Kamsi when she tried to reach out. "I have no other mother." Mama Ngozi supported Chisom's decision, though she wished things could have been different. Back in Uchenna's house, things continued to fall apart. His company went bankrupt, and he struggled to make ends meet. Kamsi, who had always been used to an easy life, found it difficult to adjust. Arguments became frequent, and their relationship grew toxic. One day, Uchenna blamed Kamsi for his misfortune, saying she had brought him bad luck. He threw her out of the house, leaving her nowhere to go. Kamsi tried to return to the bar business, but it was difficult to start over. Meanwhile, Chisom's life continued to flourish. She expanded her business and even started a foundation to help young girls in the village gain skills and education. She wanted to ensure no girl would have to go through what she had endured. People in the village began to admire Chisom for her resilience and strength. They often said, "She has turned her pain into power." Chisom's story inspired many young women to believe in themselves and work hard for a better future. One day, Kamsi came to Chisom's boutique begging for forgiveness. She looked worn out and defeated. "I made a terrible mistake," Kamsi said, tears streaming down her face. "Please give me a chance to make things right." Chisom listened but remained firm. "You are my mother and I respect that," she said. "But I cannot let you back into my life. Some wounds run too deep to heal." Kamsi left heartbroken, but she knew she had no one to blame but herself. She returned to the village and lived quietly, reflecting on the choices that had cost her everything. Years later, Chisom's daughter Ada grew into a bright and confident young girl. She often asked about her grandmother, and Chisom told her the truth in a way she could understand. "She made mistakes, but we can learn from them and choose a better path," Chisom said. Chisom's boutique expanded to chains of stores, and she became a respected entrepreneur. She never forgot her roots and often visited the village to give back to the community that had supported her. Though life had been cruel to her at times, Chisom found strength in her struggle. She realized that the betrayals she had faced had only made her stronger. She forgave herself for the pain she had carried and embraced the future with hope. In the end, Chisom proved that even in the face of betrayal and hardship, it is possible to rise, rebuild, and find happiness. Her story became a lesson for everyone in the village that strength, love, and determination can overcome even the darkest moments.